Hey everybody, Aaron here, and this is a kind of top 10 horror anime I think that you could watch during Halloween, keeping up with the spirit of it. And honestly, I mean, these are anime you could watch beyond Halloween, you don't have to just watch them on Halloween. But I think the kind of cool concept with a lot of these is that they're really good to watch during Halloween because if you want some, scary stuff, you want some psychological horrors, hack and slash. I have a little bit of everything on this list. I have more. I noticed more psychological and kind of creepy anime horrors on here more than just all gore, because personally I like the kind of psychological type anime, the ones that kind of make you think and kind of disturb you a little bit enough that's unsettling. So honestly, I have more of those on here than that. Doesn't mean I don't have any hack and slash type gore factory type shows, but I do. This is my list, so I hope you guys enjoy it. If you don't, I'm sorry. If you've seen a lot of these anime, hey, check it out again. Some of these anime are worth watching 2 or 3 times. I've seen most of them at least twice. So I'll tell you right now, come on, you can rewatch it during Halloween and enjoy it. Pick and choose which one you favorite. Read that. Anyways, though, let's start off with the honorable mentions. So honorable mention goes to Parasite. And the reason it goes to Parasite is because Parasite I don't think is per se anything really overly scary. It's more akin to like the unsettling creep factory type concepts I told about earlier. And that if you think of The Thing, the 1980s or 70s movie that came out, where, what if a creature were to get into civilization, and what would it do if it could assimilate with humans and actually look like us, think like us, act like us, albeit, have intent of killing us, harming us, etc., just because it wants to live. And the thing ends. Spoiler alert for a movie that's how long old. The thing ends with the creature actually being killed, but Parasite is what starts with essentially the world, well, at least most of the world being taken over by these parasites. And I think that's really really cool. I actually love the show. I think it's an amazing show. Definitely worth checking out. It's got a little bit of gore. It's got a little bit of violence. So if you need your fix of that too, it's right in here. It's right there waiting for you. All right, moving on to number 10. First off, Blue Gender. Now, Blue Gender, I think, is one of those creepy type shows, in that sense that it's not per se scary. It's the concept of a hive mind alien race taking over and destroying us, bringing humanity to the brink of extinction. That to me is creepy. I think when they only also have like 1 or 2 weaknesses, a lot of them can't be killed very easily. I think that's scary. I really do. And I think that the show conveys it pretty damn well in the sense that you see these characters kind of fighting for their lives. You have characters where they're now in unfamiliar territory, not understanding exactly what's going on around them. And that's what makes this show kind of creepy, because it almost puts you in the same concept. You don't really know until everything starts happening what's happening. And I love that. I think one of the first episodes of the show is like enough to get you hooked right away. So definitely check out Blue Gym if you never have. It's an older show, but still. And number 9, Gantz. Now Gantz, I don't think it's per se just flat out horror. I think Gantz, the concept of you being brought back to life and not really being able to come back to life per se in the normal sense, in the sense that you are now being told you must kind of fight in this game of life or death against creatures that are 10 times stronger than you in order to have a chance of coming back to life, or not, you die and you die permanently. That to me is scary. I think this show really embodies kind of the horrific elements of, how far will you have to go to like get second chance of life, in terms of if that's even possible. Now, this show is really good. I think it's got it's M-rated. I'm gonna say it's very very violent. It's got a lot of grotesque kind of imagery. I couldn't say that word for a second. Grotesque imagery. There we go. And it also in general is also got nudity and such like that. So if you're underage, I'm telling you not to watch this, but I can't stop you. That's the internet. You watch what you want to watch. That's up to your parents. But anyways, let's get on to the next one. In number 8, Umineko. Now, Umineko, I know gets a lot of crap because it's not per se this is the kind of scary, story, and this has a horrible ending. But hear me out. Umineko, as bad as the ending is for it, because it does have a horrible anime ending, it still is a good show. It has a lot of good content. It has a lot of kind of creepy elements in terms of having our main character kind of relive his life over and over again to kind of figure out who the players are that are going to die and who's going to live and who he can try to stop to keep this from happening over and over again. And by the way, I know the images for the PS3 video game. I couldn't find a surprisingly, I couldn't find a really good image of Umineko that shows even some of the characters. So I figured Might as well just show whatever one I got. But to me, this kind of shows embodies what the actual animation looks like in a lot of ways. But bottom line is that this show is very, very good. I think, yeah, the ending is horrible. It probably kills a lot of the show. But overall, it's a great kind of creepy thriller, psychological horror that you definitely need to check out at least once. Just at least follow it all the way to the end, and then you can make your complaints about the ending, because, again, it's going to end bad. I'm just warning you guys now. But overall, it's a very good horror anime to watch. In number 7, School Days. Oh boy, I can feel the hate comments already flowing in. I know everyone hates School Days. I get it, but School Days is kind of messed up. Okay, it's very akin to Higurashi. It's very akin to Umineko in the sense that you don't. I know that it has very unrealistic settings in terms of the one character, but the rest of the show, and I always say this in reviews, and I always tell people when they talk about this. Again, I go to school for criminal justice, and the concept is, the bottom line is, these characters in general are very realistic in sense of how they're doing things. People are manipulative. People are creepy when they do certain things. If perversion gets a hold of you, you can do very sick things, and you can't imagine that. But a lot of people have done it. This is stuff that you see in real day life, and a lot of people always say this is unrealistic. I'm like, it's not unrealistic. This is actually pretty scary realistic. So I think School Days is a perfect kind of horror anime to watch during the Halloween time period, because it just has every little thing of unsettling kind of characters and kind of just like, oh wow, what's gonna happen next kind of concept. But I know people hate it, so I mean, it's more so this, I think, is a biased kind of concept to it. But I say, if you haven't given School Days a try, at least try it once. At least try it once. This way you can make your complaints about it later on. Moving on to number 6, Another. Now, Another, to me, I've reviewed this, and I love Another. I think it's a great, great program. And I'm sorry for that being mean. Someone's backing up outside, and I can't help that. But I live in New York, so I mean, that's kind of to be expected. But anyways, Another is another example of, hey, I said Another twice, of a psychological horror. And that, you don't really, per se, you see the horrible stuff that happens to the main character. You see characters be killed off, and, see them being killed off in horrible, grotesque ways. But what's really, really good about the show is it kind of deals with the whole psychological concepts of a mystery novel. You're trying to figure out who the players are, what's really happening here. Is this really a curse? Is this really some kind of supernatural entity? What's happening? And when the actual reveal happens, I think it's wonderful. I love the show. Definitely a great horror show to watch during the season. Moving on to number 5, Paranoia Agent. Now, Paranoia Agent, to me, is everything. It's psychological, it's horror in terms of visual, it's, very bloody and gory. This is kind of the creme de la creme, if I say, of what to watch if you want something horrific. And that, the whole concept of some kid going around beating the crap out of people and killing them with a baseball bat and roller skates, that's disturbing. But more so when you start finding out what's really going on and what's, why is it this kid can't be stopped? Why is it that no one sees him anywhere but at these crime scenes that all of a sudden just happen? There's a reason for that. And this show conveys that, I think, perfectly. I really do. Honestly, if you've never seen Paranoia Agent, highly, highly recommend checking it out. Great for the holidays. And number 4, Berserk movies. I think a lot of you saw that coming. Now, honestly, I say the Berserk movies because I know the anime is pretty horrific too, but I think the movies kind of ramp up the horror a lot in terms of right away you get a lot of the kind of creepy stuff that's going to happen in the show, and you get little hints and tidbits of it. What I love about Berserk, I think, is that it starts off more psychological because it's an action series at the beginning, but it has the psychological horror already mixed into it. You start seeing our characters kind of how they want to be in terms of the series and how they want to progress. And in terms of anything, that's the horrific part, is how they start going toward their goals, how they start wanting to become who they're going to become. And then at the last, several episodes, you get this horrific element, or not episodes, more so the movie, the last movie. The anime too, if you watch the anime, I'll say either one. You can watch the anime, but I recommend the movies. If you watch the last movie, that's almost all horror, and that is really, really well done. It's a great, great series. I definitely recommend checking out the movies. Even the anime is not bad. But check this out during the horror. It's perfect for Halloween. Perfect to kind of get you that spirit of just, super kind of cool costume characters that, I mean, look at his armor. His armor is always, to me, looks really cool. Now, in third place, Future Diary. Come on. I think a lot of people knew that this was going to be high up on there. Future Diary is the perfect example of psychological horror, in that our character is a crazy person. But even more so is that our other characters are kind of in this game of cat and mouse for the role to become God. And how far are you going to go to become God if you could? And that's what's really cool about the show. I think it's really, really terrifying, and how you see some of these characters handle what's happening around them. Some of the characters' background stories are really, really depressing and sad, but also really, really horrific. And I think this is the perfect Halloween show to watch, late night. Watch it, just enjoy it, and go, wow, this is so disturbing and unsettling, that you go, wow, that's really creepy. And, legitimately, there are some really, really gory parts. So if you want some, like, kind of slasher gore fest thing that you want during Halloween, this is a perfect place to go. And number 2, Chiquis. Now, a lot of people are probably going to be surprised that 2 is Chiquis. I think they would have thought Future Diary would have been second, but hear me out. Chiquis is, I think, essentially the closest thing to horror in my list so far, besides the top one, the number 1 spot. In that Chiquis has, vampires, it has werewolf kind of concepts. It reminds me of an older kind of horror show, and that it's, again, not scary. It's nothing that's going to be like, oh, I'm going to jump like that. But more so that you are scared by the characters and what they're willing to do in terms of living, in terms of fighting against whatever fight they have to fight in the show. I think Chiquis is awesome. I think it's perfect for Halloween and for kind of just binge watching it during a Halloween season. Definitely check it out. Now, number 1, Higurashi. Come on. Did anyone not see this coming? It wasn't on the list. I mentioned it early on. I gave you guys foreshadowing to know this, that it was going to be in the first spot if you didn't think of it already. Higurashi is, again, the perfect example of everything horror. I mean, you want horror at its core, you want horror at its perfection, Higurashi. It's got the psychological, it's got the blood and guts, it's got the kind of visual cue, grotesque horror scenes that people are just going to go, oh my god, whoa, 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 I can't believe that happened. And it does it in a way that looks so cute and innocent at first, and then just kind of punches you in the face and goes, wow, what is this? What am I watching? All of a sudden, Sesame Street became the most horrific thing I've ever seen since, shows like this, like movies like Saw or stuff like that. Higurashi is amazing. It's still, I still hear about people sometimes wondering about the concept of watching it or not. Definitely watch it. Come on, you have to watch the show. If you haven't watched it already, shame on you. It's a great show, but I think this is the top of the horrible pinnacle. I think it's the best thing you can get. Anyways, guys, that's it for this top 10. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I'll keep doing these if you guys like them. I want your feedback in the comments below. Telling me if you want me to do, because I have a whole bunch I can do. I can do top 10 romances, top 10 action, etc., etc. But I need you guys' feedback, because these take a little bit more time to actually produce. And, in terms of editing them, it's not that much harder per se, but it takes more work. So honestly, if I don't see feedback on it, I don't want to keep doing them. It's not because I don't want to do it for you guys. I don't mind doing things like this for you guys, but having feedback and being told what works about it, what doesn't work about it, helps me out. And, well, as always, guys, until we talk again later, because I can't say this is a review, not really a review, but until the next video, whatever. Till the next video, guys, have a great day, have a great Halloween, and just enjoy life in general. Have a good one, everyone. Bye.